Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, and today we have two special guests, two good friends of mine, two guests that I worked with when I was a Morristown police officer, and it's really a pleasure to be able to have them come here in the studio here at Morristown High School and work with the students. And this show is more like getting to know you, getting to know some of the people that work for you as citizens, and where your tax money's gone. And so I find them very interesting people. And we here in Morristown, which is the largest borough in the world, and we should be proud, and we are proud of our police department. So without further ado, I'd say ladies before gentlemen, I want you to meet Lieutenant Patty Simmons right over here in full uniform. And she's our public relations, our community relations officer for the Morristown Police Department. And over here we have a good friend and my paisan, Chief Russel Bono, who was the Chief of Police in Morristown. First, Chief, I just want to thank you for taking the time out to come here and bringing one of your top echelon officers here. And I'd say that you did a lot since you've been Chief. The fact that you have, with the first time Morristown ever had a female lieutenant. So, I mean, you're really doing strides and a lot of other things in reference to communication and a lot of advancement. So I'd like to just ask you, just to start off with, when I started as a policeman back in 1951, and it's a lot different. We had one typewriter, and and the sergeant had one typewriter and a phone, and we didn't have any walkie-talkies or anything like that. But tell me some of the key things, that the changes, advanced technology that you have here with the Morristown Police Department.
Sure, I'd be glad to, Hank. As you said, things have changed quite a bit since you were a policeman. I remember when you were a sergeant, I was a rookie policeman, so I did work for you a couple times, and you were a great sergeant. The technology has advanced tremendously in Morristown. We now have, where we had one typewriter in the detective division, we now have computers on every desk. We have computers in the car, which gives the officers the ability to know instantly if they're going to pull a car over. Just run the license number, they get immediate information as to who they're stopping, whether that individual has any warrants for them or anything like that. We don't use ink anymore to fingerprint people. It's all done digitally.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. And in a matter of minutes, we know the true identity of the person, so people can no longer lie to us about who they really are. We find that out almost in 10, 15 minutes usually. We know who they are. We have digital mugshot cameras now, which go into a database across the state. We could pull up anyone's picture from anywhere in the state who are on this. It's called CPIN, Commonwealth Photo Imaging Network. So the technology is just tremendous.
Do you work along like this new thing that they're doing, National Amber Alert? Are you involved a little bit?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're involved in the National Amber Alert. Yep. All departments across Pennsylvania are, and I believe it's going to be nationwide shortly, if it hasn't been.
So in other words, you can do things a lot faster now than years ago. When you had to check a license, you had to go through a book and look through alphabetical order in about 15 different books.
Yeah.
So now, how about your lieutenant here? His title now is Community Relations.
Yes, it is.
Now tell us something about what you do.
Well,
just tell the people there. We got the camera there, and
basically, myself and Officer Robinson were in charge.
Officer Robinson, he's with
Carl Robinson. Yes.
Is he the guy that rides the motorcycle?
Yes, he is.
Okay, I just want to identify. I'm going to give everybody a plug here.
We're in community relations, and probably our biggest function is to go out to the schools, put on programs for the senior citizens. If anybody calls and they want us to put on a program about anything law enforcement related, we'll go out and do our best.
Well, now you hear that. If there's some organization that needs a speaker, or they want some kind of program pertaining to crime prevention or what the police department's doing, give you a call, right?
We have crime prevention, we have traffic safety, we have Eddie Eagle programs, just about anything that has to do with law enforcement, or protecting your homes, or we can help them with that.
I find that, the senior citizens and the senior, you have this here, nursing homes, and you have assisted living, and these people are up in age, and And I think it's so good that when a uniformed personnel walks in, even walks in and just shakes their hand or just show that the sense of security. I think it's a good public relations. I know I myself, I do a little program. I go in and sing a little bit with a little string band, and I'll say, how many people from Norristown? Oh, I remember when you were a policeman. You remember? They start reminiscing about. So this is something I think the young police officers today to get involved in the community. I think it's so important. See, and I'm glad that you're a good person to that. I mean, you have the right personality to work it because you have the enthusiasm and the desire. Okay, that's the desire to do the job is so important, especially in police work.
I do enjoy it.
So, and I'm glad that Chief, he gives you the free hand to move. You just can't say do this or do that. And that's important when you have your supervisor. He notices talent and he lets that talent work, and I think that's very important. What else do you do?
The chief does give us a lot of leadway. Usually we get everything set up and then tell him, yeah, we're going to go here and do this and do that.
Right.
If there's a problem with it, he'll tell us, but usually there's not. So it's great. You go out and you set programs up. I was at Rittenhouse Pines yesterday, which is it's not assisted living, but it's a senior citizen apartment.
It's a nursing home, yeah.
And the reception there is great.
Yes.
They love to see people come out and talk to them and different programs. Also, we're going to try to, we're running the terrorism awareness and prevention course with Lieutenant Gallagher, who's a patrol supervisor. He went to school and was trained to put on this program, and I help him set it up. We're going to do one tonight at Central Press.
Training, explain that a little bit.
It's a program that's to bring about a terrorism awareness so people know kind of the background of it, what it is, and what they can do to help prevent it.
And what to do in case
what to do and how to help us, the police department.
Anything suspicious and stuff?
Correct. And it's basically just like Town Watch. We have 2 Town Watch groups in Norristown, and there are eyes and ears, and we don't want them to get actively involved in fighting crime, but if they see something suspicious in their neighborhood, they can call us and we'll respond to it.
That's right. A good town watch is good as long as they know what they do, not do more than what they're supposed to do, and that creates a problem. But now we all know Norristown is the county seat, and we know that people come from all over to go to the courthouse. We have the hospital and those, so we have a lot of transit business and people coming in and out, and naturally we've had quite a few Hispanic. The population in Norristown has grown with the different Puerto Rican, Mexican, and years ago it used to be all Italians, until they learned and blended in, So I know that is a problem because you don't have at this time a Spanish speaking, born and raised, I say Spanish or Hispanic. So I think that's important. I think, and I understand that you're working on something, but like I say, you're limited on you just can't say I want this guy or I want that guy. You have to go through the civil service rules and regulations.
That's
okay.
Correct.
But you just mentioned to me about you sent one of your officers down to Texas. Tell me about that.
Well, since Norristown is such a diverse community now, it's no longer just Italians and Irish. It's more diverse. We have people from all over the world. I thought it was important that the department be able to recognize cultural differences and cultural diversity. So I sent Lieutenant Mark Shannon, who was my training coordinator, to Texas to become a trainer. It's a course called Train the Trainer in Cultural Diversity. And he came back and trained, in turn trained the whole police department. Mm-hmm. So every member of our department has had this course. It's very important. It helps them to recognize why different cultures act in different ways.
Right.
So I believe it's helped to reduce some of the tensions that might otherwise arise from misunderstandings between police officers and different cultures.
And it's important, too, to learn something because the first person at the scene of a crime is the most important person to be able to relay information if he sees something. If he said, would you give a description of the violator, whatever it may be, and I think that's important, Now, you started as a dispatcher with the Norristown Police Department.
Yes,
you
I
worked
did.
yourself all the way up.
Yes, I did.
Now, you're going to be a general before this is all over here, You can't stop this kid. Go ahead, tell us how you
Lord
started.
willing, I'll be sitting in this seat someday.
I hope so, right,
Oh,
sure.
I think
That's all right. It's
trying to give me a hint.
You got all the, that's all right, that's a good plug. It's like a politician, you know, you drop the seed and let it grow. But no, you have
Just
all the
kidding,
qualities, let's put it that way. So go ahead, what was,
I started as a dispatcher for 2.5 years, back when Norristown dispatched all their calls. And that was, believe it or not, great training to be a supervisor.
right,
You were a civilian employee, but you were telling officers that had 20, some 30 years on the job where to go and what to do, because you had to keep that all organized.
right.
And they happened to give a test when I was working there, and I took the test and did well and was hired, and it's been a great experience.
And you were 15 years, you were 15 years with the police department.
Right, 15 years. I was about 2.5 years as a dispatcher, and then the last 15 on the force.
And you're born and raised in Norristown.
Yes.
That's another thing. And both, you, the chief,
Absolutely.
were both born and raised in Norristown. And then that's, you know, I think that helps you. And, you know, you talked about, you started with a dispatcher, then became a patrolman, and it's so important to learn the basic from the bottom up, you know, just to start from the top down, and you don't really, you know what's going on. You know, the old story, if you want to swim, you got to get in the water. And that's what you're doing, you know, you get in
Right.
there and learn the job, and that way somebody can't come back and say, what do you know? You're never out in the street. You were on the street, you walked the street, you did everything, and that's important. I think that's one of the key things. Chief, what else you got? What are some of the things that you're looking forward to, things you would like to see happen? I know that your council has been very cooperative with you, and I think that there hasn't been anything that battling between the council and the chief. So I think that if you do a good, you know, well, every department, you know.
I don't battle with the council
Right.
or the mayor. They are, you know, I take my direction from them.
Right,
so
right.
They set the course, and I try to follow through on it. One of the things I would like to bring up is the department's in the midst of becoming accredited.
Oh,
It's a very important program,
Right.
Something I'm really proud of, because we're doing it as a department on the whole. Lieutenant Mark Shannon is my accreditation manager, and what it is it's a program sponsored by the Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police Association, and it sets 108 standards that a police department must meet to get this accreditation. It's a very, very difficult task. We've been working on it for almost 2 years now.
and how many departments are there in Pennsylvania?
There's currently 1,200 police departments in Pennsylvania.
And how many are accredited of your knowledge?
Right now, in the whole state, I believe there's only 5, and there are 2 in the county.
Two.
2. And we plan on being the 3rd. We are going to have our, what they call an assessment, on June the 8th and June the 9th. And if we're successful, we'll be only the 3rd department in the county to achieve this accreditation, and the 6th in the whole state of Pennsylvania. So I'm really proud of the department. It's something, like, as I said before, it's very difficult meeting these professional standards, but as a group, as a department, we've worked very hard.
You know, I think that's important, the people to know that Norristown Police and the department are doing something, okay? You know, to be proud of, and also it's performing a better service for the people in the community. You know, I think that's very important. The fact that all the departments throughout the state, and only 6 accredited, and we only have 2 here in Montgomery County, and we're going to be the 3rd.
Yes, we are.
And that's a great step, and I think that's great. And was there anything else that you think that your department? We mentioned about the language barrier. Do you have any problem on that? When you go in to talk to different where there's a language barrier, is there anything that you're going to hook up with, or maybe contact like Philadelphia police that have a Hispanic police officer and say, look, how about coming over there and for a week or so, we're going to go into the schools or something, or someplace when there's a language barrier.
I
Can you
haven't
do
had
that?
that. I
Bar a
haven't had
policeman?
that problem yet. I did do a program. We went up to Gottwall School and fingerprinted every child that was in the school, and there were some
What's
children.
that? Is that because of missing and kidnapped?
Yes, yeah. They get their fingerprints done, and the parents or the school keeps them. The police just do them and turn them over to them. And there were a few children that weren't very fluent, but they had older brothers or younger sisters or somebody that would translate for them. But most of the kids in the school are learning English as a second language, and they seem to communicate really well. So in my thing with going out, I haven't had the problem yet, but we do have an officer that speaks fluent Spanish.
They took a course in it, yeah, but nothing like knowing their customs and, you know.
Right.
And then
I'm glad you're working on that. I know that you're trying to do it.
Definitely something that we're working towards.
Mm-hmm.
I also investigate the harassment complaints that come into the borough, and I've had problems with that where people weren't very fluent with English, and Peggy, who works in our records division, is nice enough
She's
to...
what nationality?
I believe she was South American.
Hispanic, South America, from.
She speaks fluent Spanish, and she will
So
call
she's a good
people for me.
translator.
Yes. So she helps us tremendously.
Yeah. But, you know, you mentioned also that years ago that fingerprint, you'd put down and get that, put it over there and be ink all over
Right.
on the clothes, and it's hard to get it off. Now, tell me about this new type of fingerprint.
Well, it's as I said, we don't use ink anymore. It's actually a computer. It has a glass plate, just a glass plate that you roll the person's fingerprint or thumbprint over, and the picture of the print appears on the computer screen. And it tells you when you have a good print. And then you just step on a little pedal with your foot, and it locks the print in.
How about that?
So, and then it automatically runs your print through a database, which will come back with your true identity.
And that goes where?
That goes into Harrisburg, and then from Harrisburg it goes through AFIS, what they call AFIS,
And that's-
automated fingerprint identification.
Years ago, you used to go to the FBI.
Yes,
That's
it
conjunction.
checks that. It checks that database. Yes. So it's just amazing. Years ago, somebody would come in, you would fingerprint them. They would say, "My name is Cisco." Well, we wouldn't find out till 2 weeks later that their name was
process it,
someone
but now
else.
you can do it immediately.
Now, right.
It's the same thing if a policeman is following a car and he wants to check that license plate. Just within seconds, he can.
They now have computers in their cars, little mobile data terminals, they're called.
Oh yeah.
Every car has a mobile data terminal. They could just punch in the license number of the car, and before they get out of their car, know who the operator or the owner of that car is and whether there's any outstanding warrants for them. So that's very important for officer safety.
So it's, I'm thinking back when I was a
Yeah,
policeman,
a
they used
little
to
bit
give
different.
smoke signals, yo, So, it's
yeah.
good, and I'm glad you're doing it. But, I think the public should know, and I think the criminal-minded people should know that this can, how fast police can get in on a violent crime or whatever it may be, and let them know that somebody's there watching and can do something immediately, And so what else now? You were born and raised in Norristown, right?
Born and raised in the
All right.
east
How
end
many
of
brothers and
Norristown.
sisters, and what do you got now?
I have an older brother and an older sister.
Uh-huh.
And, we were
Where do they
born-
live?
They live in Norristown.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they still live in Norristown. My mom, God bless her, is 87 years old. She still lives in Norristown her whole life.
Oh.
Attended Holy Savior School, grade school. I remember Hank Cisco coming, giving safety programs.
Never cross when the light is red, the light is red.
That's it. I still remember that. Bishop Kendrick High School, graduated in Bishop Kendrick High School. So.
Uh-huh. And how about, now, your wife? Tell me something about your wife. She's very pretty because she sits in the back of me in church. I sit in the back of you when you get in there because you get there before me. And
Yeah, she is.
what's her maiden name?
Her maiden name is Cione, C-I-O-N-E.
Uh-huh.
She was born and raised in East Norton, right over the line in Colston.
Uh-huh.
Her father was the president of the Holy Savior Club for
Oh, yeah.
17
I knew-
years.
I
Very, very
knew him.
active in
Right.
the church and the club. So
I didn't know that. Yeah.
our roots are deep. We're very proud of.
Right,
I'm proud
right.
to be from Norristown, and I love the town.
Right. How about you now? That you were born and raised in Norristown, right?
Yep, up the West
How many
End.
brothers and sisters you got?
6 brothers and a sister.
Wow.
Basically, some of them spread out a little bit, but I've always lived in the same 5-block radius.
What school did you go to?
I started out at Gwinnett Mercy Academy, and then went to St. Francis, and then to Norristown High, so 4 years at each one.
Did I come into the schools then? I guess not. I had retired?
Probably, no, we had Trooper Ash because I was at Gwinnett at that age bracket where the safety program would be.
Okay.
So Trooper, I don't know if you remember Trooper Ash.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, he
sure,
was
sure.
big back then.
Sure, I worked with most of the troopers. Used to be a trooper, and I would bring them in to
It's
work
amazing how
safety.
you remember that. I mean,
Yeah.
that was years ago, and you still
Oh, yeah.
remember.
Well, you know, it's only so many things you can remember. You get, you know, the mind, but then it starts going the other way. But in the meantime, while it's still with me, you know. And so you went to St. Francis, and what other school?
I went to Gwinnett Mercy Academy, and then to St. Francis, and then to Norristown High.
Uh-huh.
So I went 4 years in each school system, I guess.
And you lived in the west end of town. If I remember, you lived on Hamilton Street.
Yes.
Right. My
mother's still there.
My sister-in-law lived across the street, Mary Arena.
Mrs. Arena,
Right,
yes.
Right.
In fact, I just saw her daughter the other day down at the library.
Right. You know, it's nice when you can talk about the town you live in, the town you work in, you know, and here you're working with people. How many men you got on the police department? Well, men, women, you got one.
Men and women.
Huh? Men
We
and
now have, just last night, we hired 2 additional officers.
Oh, yeah?
Well, actually, they're replacements. 2 officers left, and we replaced them. We now have 67 total.
You got 67.
Counting myself, there are 67 officers.
And how do they work, in shifts? How's that?
Yeah, the department's broken down into, we have what they call steady midnight shift. We have one group of guys who want to work steady midnight, and then the 4 to 12 in the daylight shift, they rotate back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's broken down into 4 platoons, 1 steady platoon and 3 that rotate.
Mm-hmm. Now, you work like with the serious crimes or so, you work with the county, right?
Yeah.
How's that work now? I remember we used to call the county in on major crimes, murder or something like that. The district attorneys would assist on warrants and search warrants and stuff.
That's basically still the same, Hank. We handle the everything up to murder basically by ourselves. And but when we do have a homicide, the district attorney's office, which has been great for us, is always willing to help. Bruce Castor, he'll send in his guys, and we work together. They don't take over the investigation, but they assist us, and we work together.
And Oscar
they're
Vance, the
tremendous.
chief of county detectives.
Yep, great cooperation from Oscar.
Yeah.
That whole group is wonderful to us.
When I left the police department, I became a county detective, and Oscar Vance was my chief.
Right.
And like I say, we get along good, and we still get together. We call up and have lunch, and we go over different things. We talk about the old times, the new times, and you know, just like we're doing now.
Right.
See? And well, how about the state police now? Where do they come in?
The state police have also been very, very helpful to us.
Now you have a special unit. What's that about? How's that operate?
We participate in the CLEAN team. It's a team comprised of Norristown police officers, county detectives from the district attorney's office, state police, and county sheriffs. Mm-hmm. And that team was formed by Michael Marino, along with Mayor LeBlanc, myself, to address quality of life crimes. Our department is such a busy department responding just to calls that doesn't leave a lot of time left to respond to quality of life crimes. Guys on the corners, drinking, loud radios, that kind of stuff. So the CLEAN team was formed to try to address those problems. They specialize in that. And they've also been very helpful in working with the Weed and Seed program. And
what's a weed and seed? What's that?
well, that's a program that the county has got a grant. The weed part of the program is the law enforcement end of it. We work very hard with the county and with the CLEAN team to try to eliminate as much crime as we can in particular neighborhoods. They set out an area that they draw up, maybe a 10 square block area, try to eliminate the crime in that area. That's called the weed part of it. And the seed part of the program, it comes back, that's more of the social aspect to try to help the neighbors maintain that crime-free area.
In other words, there's a lot of programs, and I think working together and put them together, I think Norristown can be proud. But like I say, you know, there's new challenges every day, and the fact that you have someone working community. And you mentioned one other thing that you're involved with a little bit about. You're going to work along with the Cancer Society or so. Tell me.
We're going to try to. I'm going to try anyway to form a Norristown team to walk in the Strides Against Breast Cancer walk, which is in October. It's October 12th. I belong to the
October 12th. That's Columbus Day.
It's a Sunday.
It's Columbus Day. All right, you know, don't forget that, October 12th. Okay.
But I belong to the Bocce Ball League in Norristown on the firemen's
You see, I tell you,
league, and
I say kid. I don't know why I always use the word kid, but lieutenant now is involved in the community. Go ahead.
well, the firemen in this organization, the Bocce Ball League, are already expressed interest in joining in, and
Right.
anybody that works in Norristown, lives in Norristown,
Right.
drives through Norristown, if they want to get on the team, we're happy to have them.
Good.
So
And
we'll see what we can
contact
do.
Lieutenant Simon at the Norristown Police Department and Chief Bono. You know, I just want to thank everyone for allowing us into your house and let you know that something is being done every day, every minute. There's police coverage and advancement, and that's what I'm so happy about. You know, I hear this all new to me because I don't get down to the police station every day to know what's going on. Although I am connected with the International Police and County Detective Association, but still in all the inner workings of every day, you know, every minute there's something where a call where a policeman has to go out and do, whether it might be a simple little broken window or something that might be a serious crime, and they're putting their life on the line. So I'm very happy that you're here to be able to tell the people what you do, and we need your help. If you hear something or you see something you think is suspicious, pick up the phone and, you know, don't wait. Don't, if you see something suspicious, holler and say, hey, get out of there, and then call the police. You know, first call, and they'd be only too happy to respond. So without further ado, I just want to thank Norristown students, Norristown High School students for doing this videotape for us. And Chief, grazie. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Rock.
Lieutenant,
Thank you.
thank you. And God bless you.